Now it's right. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by Otterscotch. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. And now I gotta save file, save project as. All right, we'll call this SC148. Save. Episode 148 of Switchcraft is also brought to you by Audible. Get a free book and directly support the stream by checking out Audible. They have thousands of books from every genre, and you're definitely going to find something that you like. Just head on over to runjumpstomp.com/audible. Sponsor. Save. Switchcraft is recorded live 3 times a week on Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern and on Saturday at whatever time I can get to it, although I'm kind of lying because today is Tuesday and I'm recording it here at 12:41 p.m. just because I've got something else going on tonight, so I decided to record early. If you want to join the live show, just make sure that you go over to twitch.tv/runjumpstomp, hit that follow button so that you get alerted next time I go live. And then you can click the link when you get the email, and you'll be greeted by Snogos Ham, Vaxer, Aerslia, Hoppel, Link31254, Res TV, Shubrew, and TF Wagner, among other awesome people. Let's start by talking about an email that I got today. The email was from... I forgot to put in who the email was from. Let me grab that. Gmail. Scott. Okay. Scott. And I'm not going to read the whole email because it's actually kind of long, but I will talk about the overall idea. And it's something that I've talked about before, but it's the fact that Nintendo still has not given us cloud saves yet for the Nintendo Switch. It's something that a lot of people worry about. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then I'll read like an excerpt from the email. Last night I took my family out to watch Black Panther, and my son wanted to bring his Switch with him to play it in the car, but it wouldn't turn on because he hadn't charged it in a while. So I plugged it in. I have a portable charger, and I was like, "Oh, it's okay, buddy. You can use this." And it was dead enough that the portable charger just wasn't cutting it, or at least it wasn't cutting it fast enough that I was really willing to troubleshoot and make sure that it was working okay. So I told him that it would just work. I would make sure that it got charged when we got home. So we went to the movies. Awesome movie, by the way, Black Panther. I really liked it. It's not my favorite Marvel movie, but it's really good. It's a very fun movie. But we got home, and I grabbed his Switch, and I tried plugging it in. It wouldn't work, and I was very, very, how do I want to say this? Very worried. I was very worried that there was something wrong with it. So I did a little Googling, as one does, and it turns out that what somebody else who was getting the same problem that I was, where the screen was black and it would just show the charge icon, but it didn't seem to be taking a charge. So somebody said to put it in the dock and then hold down the power button for a little bit, and it would go black, and then just leave it alone for like 20 minutes and come back. And sure enough, that worked. But in that 20 minutes, all I could think of is my son has spent a lot of time playing his Nintendo Switch, and he is a big fan of that system. In fact, I think that Zelda, the Breath of the Wild, I think that that's the first game that he actually finished like on his own without like him coming and saying, "Hey, Dad, can you like get past this thing for me or something like that. It was the first thing that he had finished completely on his own. And I kept worrying that his save data was going to go away. And it reminded me back when I had an Xbox 360, my son was playing Lego Lord of the Rings. And, he's one of those kids that just doesn't read the information that is given to him. And he was going to save his game, and rather than look at the screen while he was doing it, he was just so used to just muscle memory hitting a button to save his game, and he overwrote he was like at 90% complete on Lego Lord of the Rings, and it erased his game, and he was devastated. He was absolutely devastated. And him and my wife and I sat down for a couple weeks and just kind of powered through to get all the stuff that he had already gotten, because we couldn't recover that save file. And I couldn't imagine how he would have felt if his save file on his Nintendo Switch was lost, or all of his save files on his Nintendo Switch. And I know there's been more than one time where I've been in the middle of a game and there was like an issue with the save, or like it got corrupted, and I just said, nope, I'm never playing that game again, because I don't want to start over from scratch. And it's a portable system, and every time you pick it up, you're risking dropping it or breaking it or it getting stolen. I mean, we all have heard what happened to Brian Altano. He's one of the hosts over at Nintendo Voice Chat, where he sent his Nintendo Switch in for repairs, and it came back without his 100%ed Zelda, without his 100%ed Super Mario Odyssey. Like, he had hundreds upon hundreds of hours playing that system, and he lost all that stuff. And yes, he had fun while he was playing it, and that's true, but he lost that stuff. And that's where Res TV, who's actually another podcaster, he does the Nintendo Pulse podcast. Make sure you check his show out. But he had come up with this hashtag, Save Our Saves. And this has been a long way to go in order to get back to the email. But Scott emailed me, and it was a pretty long email. But I'm going to read you the most important part. Scott says, I appeal to you and all other Nintendo podcasts to increase the amount of vocal, widespread coverage you give to this issue in an attempt to increase the pressure on Nintendo so that they prioritize this to the degree that it needs. In 2018, there is zero excuse for the lack of this feature. Users should also be emailing, calling, and tweeting at Nintendo as well about this, but those in the media are in a unique position of wide influence, so please do what you can. Thanks. Well, Scott, I don't think that I'm in the media, and I certainly don't think I have wide influence, but I will definitely do what I can and talk about it on my show. And Scott is right. We need to be emailing and calling and tweeting at Nintendo and letting them know that this is a feature that we really care about, because I'll tell you what, I've got 200 hours in Breath of the Wild, and I would be really furious if my Nintendo Switch bricked and I could not get that data back. Even if Nintendo just makes it so that we can back up our saves to an SD card, and then I could just back that up on my computer just for a little bit of peace of mind. That would make me happy. I mean, what would be even better is cloud saves. And Scott even said in his email, he doesn't think that it's a good idea for Nintendo to even wait for September, when they launch their Nintendo Switch Online service, which is a paid service. Now, I totally agree that it's definitely that cloud saves would be best, but to expect Nintendo to do that for free, I don't think that that's going to happen. I mean, we get cloud saves on PlayStation, but only because we pay them for it. So maybe Nintendo already has this planned to come out in September, but the fact that Nintendo is notoriously cagey and opaque. They don't like to tell anybody anything. And so what I really hope is that Nintendo will listen to what we say and then give us just an iota of transparency and say, look, guys, we know that there's a problem with this. we're going to fix it, and here's how we're going to fix it, and then give us a timeline. And I think that's really what we need to do. Now, if something does happen to your Switch, and this is a really weird way to go about this, and this is a big ask for anybody, but if something does happen to your Switch, what you can do, if you find a friend who also has a Switch, I think you can, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think you can back up your Switch to their Switch, and basically what will happen is that your save files will be backed up on theirs. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I don't think it overwrites their Switch, but there's really no way to know. So Nintendo needs to fix this, and they need to fix this sooner rather than later. He sent you the same email? All right, let me save that. Holy cow, 10 minutes. I can't believe I talked about that for almost 10 minutes. Should have just read his email. It would have been shorter. And let me throw in something at the end there. And actually, you know what? I want to get rid of something. Hold on. Do a little bit of on-the-fly editing. I think, and I could be wrong, if something does happen to your... Look, guys, we know that there's a problem with this. We're going to fix it, and here's how we're going to fix it, and then give us a timeline. And I think that's really what we need to do. Now, all right, I want to change that real quick. And I think that's really what we need to do. There we go. And then give us a timeline. And I think that's what Nintendo needs to do. Let's see how that sounds. And here's how we're going to fix it, and then give us a timeline. And I think that's what... I don't like that either. Anyway, I think that's the thing that... Nope. How do I want to say that? I'll just go back to the original. Need to do. Now... All right. Saves. Control S. There we go. Done. Whoops. Oh, okay. Copy link address. Here's the next story, guys. Hopple, I'm new to the Switch, but I think I heard that it's possible to store saves to amiibos. That's not true, Hopple. It might be with like a certain game, but I don't know what game that is, but it's not something that you can do. All right. Close my email. Whoops. With over 11,000 votes, the Switch is actually the #1 choice for how people want to play Valkyria Chronicles 4. Sega put out this poll. They said, who's looking forward to Valkyria Chronicles 4? Question mark. And then they said, on which platform will you be playing the game? And 46% of respondents said that they wanted to play the game on the Nintendo Switch. 36% said PlayStation 4, and only 18% said Xbox One. I did a whole video about this over on my YouTube channel. I'll make sure that I give you guys a link to that. But I feel like this is really, really interesting. And the reason why it's so interesting to me is because there are a lot more PS4s and Xbox Ones out there. And it's very surprising. Well, no, it's not very surprising, but it's unexpected, I guess, that the Nintendo Switch would have so much hype for it for a cross-platform game when there's so many more people who have the other systems. So there's a lot of people out there who have a PS4 and no Switch. There's a lot of people out there who have an Xbox One and no Switch. And you would think that all of those people would vote for theirs. But it looks like there's a lot more people with Switches that were interested in Valkyria Chronicles. Now, I talk about it just a little bit in my video, but damn it. Let's start that over. Shift Down, thanks for the follow, man. Forgot to turn off my sound after I edited. Whoops. With over 11,000 votes, the Switch has topped both the PS4 and Xbox One in a survey posted by Sega on Twitter, asking, are you looking forward to Valkyria Chronicles 4, and what system are you going to be playing it on? I can't talk today. 46% of people who responded to that survey said that they were going to be playing on the Nintendo Switch, while 36% said PS4, and Xbox One only netted 18% of the votes. I would say that this is surprising because there's a lot more PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones out there. However, the reason why it's not surprising is actually a couple fold. Valkyria Chronicles 4 is a game that is very, very well suited to taking it out of your backpack and doing a couple of quick turns and then putting it away and moving on. So it's a really good game for a portable system. And there's a lot of small, minute details that you need to pay attention to. And when do you best do that? When you are constantly hitting that same thing over and over and over again. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you're playing a game on a portable console. So I think it makes sense for Valkyria Chronicles to be very popular on the Nintendo Switch, even in spite of the fact that there's way more PS4s and Xbox Ones out there. And the reason that there's more of those systems out there is because those systems have been around for a longer period of time. Another reason why the Switch is a good console for Valkyria Chronicles 4 is because the developer has chosen an art style that really holds up even on lower end stuff. So if you're looking for an example, look no further than just take a look at Valkyria Chronicles 1. That game still looks fantastic today because the art style that the developer chose. I went into more detail on this in a video on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/runjumpstomp, but I just wanted to make sure that I asked you guys who just listened to the podcast, are you guys excited for Valkyria Chronicles 4? And if so, tell me why. There we go. And save. That was my fault. Thanks for the follow again, Shift Down. Okay. Well, Capcom has released a video on YouTube, and it is all about the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 announced trailer, and it is coming to the Switch, and it looks really, really cool. This basically contains every Mega Man game ever made, I think, and it looks really good. The one issue with it, and this is going to upset a lot of people, And if you only watched the video and didn't pay attention to the very end, there was a little bit of legalese. And here's what it says. At the very end, it said, the physical edition of the game includes a game card for Legacy Collection 1 and a download code for Legacy Collection 2. That is not okay. Now, I understand why a game like Doom, which we'll talk about in just a minute, took their multiplayer and kind of offloaded that as a download to save money on a card, because Doom is a pretty big game to begin with. I can understand that. But the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, I really don't see these games taking up that much room. And here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to when it gets on the eShop and we can see how much room does this actually take up. Like, what's the download amount? And unless it's a absolute huge number, then there's really no reason for them to only put one part of it on the cartridge. Now, why would they do that if there's no reason to? It's in order to drive sales. Now, some people might be a little confused as to, well, that's not going to drive sales. That's going to push people away. And yes, it will push certain people away. But here's the thing. If I go to the store and I buy Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 brand new, I also get Part 2 with it. If I go to the store and buy a used copy of the game, that second collection is not available to me. It's already been claimed. So therefore, it really lowers the trade-in value of the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch. And because it lowers the trade-in value, that means that people are less likely to trade it in. And if people are less likely to trade it in, then people are less likely to be able to find it used, and so that they will have to buy the new copy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blame Capcom for doing what is a good business decision, but in the end, it's not a consumer-friendly business decision. It's very anti-consumer, and I don't like it. Just, if you're going to put out a physical edition of the game, just put the whole thing on the cartridge. That's what the consumers want. To take a big chunk of it and offload it to be a download just to force people to buy it new, or to drive people towards buying it digitally instead of in the store, yes, I understand. Who does that hurt? It really hurts GameStop, because that's where they make most of their money, is on reselling used games. But I just think it feels kind of dirty to me. I don't like the idea behind it. So Capcom, that's not cool, man. Not cool at all. You know what? People are going to be mad at me, but I've only ever played Mega Man 1. That's it. It's the only Mega Man I've ever played. Oh, shift down. It's not a big deal, man. You know what? It made it more interesting for you guys. And I feel like I did a better time the second time around anyway. You never played any Mega Man, Vaxer? See, I've always kind of been of the mind where there were two camps. There were the people who played Mega Man first, and then there were the people who played Mario first. And the people who played Mario first, generally, I feel like, and I'm projecting my own thoughts onto other people, but people who played Mario first, they don't like the way that Mega Man jumps, because Mega Man, he jumps like he's really heavy, and Mario jumps like you have some semblance of control while he's in the middle of a jump, you know? Whereas with Mega Man, when you hit that jump button, you are committed. You are going to keep doing whatever it is that you were going to do, whether there's nothing you can do once you hit that button. You are stuck. Okay, and he also kind of loses his forward momentum a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And it feels very foreign to me as somebody who played Mario first. So the Mega Man games have always been very frustrating to me because I don't like the way Mega Man jumps. It drives me bananas. Res TV says, trolling aside, they're all good. I just have more memories of playing 1 through 6 on the NES with my buds. Own all of them on cart. Not sure why I'm so excited to get this. I'm excited to buy it because I haven't played any of them except for the first one. It was back when I first started my YouTube channel, and I decided I was going to go all the way through Mega Man 1, and post it to YouTube. And I recorded all of it and I finished it, and then I like editing, I didn't know how to edit. Like it was I was using Windows Movie Maker or something. I can't remember whatever the default thing on Windows is. And editing was such a chore. I just said, forget it. I'm not going to bother. All right, speaking of Doom, Doom now has motion controls. Comes with the 1.1.1 patch, and they have added in motion control aiming for the Nintendo Switch. And this is huge. This is how I played Doom. I have Doom on PC, and I have a Steam controller. It's one of my favorite controllers of all time, and it has a gyro in it, and you can set it up to play that way with just about any game that you want, even if they don't support it. Doom didn't support it on the PC, but I can force it with the Steam controller because the Steam controller is really, really configurable. And that was really fun to play it with motion controls. And basically the way that it works, and I know a lot of people are like, ew, motion controls are bad. Here's how it works. You use the stick for big movements. You know, like you want to turn right real quick. You use the stick to turn right real quick. But when you want to aim at something, that's when you just use the motion control to kind of zero in. And it really allows you to play much faster than you could with any other controller, even without aim assist on. Or even with aim assist on. And I think that Doom is like, if you don't have a high-end computer, and you don't have a Steam controller, and you have a Switch, I think that this makes the Switch the best place for you to play this game. Yes, the visuals will be lower, but the controls will be so much better. And I don't think that it's available to have gyro control on the PS4, even though the PS4 controller has gyro built in. I don't think that they enabled it. Now, if they did, then I would say the PS4 is the best place to play Doom, because I don't really think of Doom as the kind of game that I would play portably. I would prefer to have the lights off, like my headphones on, cranked up really loud, and on the big TV screen. Playing it on the small screen, it just kind of loses something for me. However, motion controls changes that because it makes it a lot more fun to play that way. I've played it both on mouse and keyboard, with a controller using non-motion controls, and with a controller using motion controls, and it plays like a dream with a controller using motion controls. Now, to be fair, I haven't played it on the Switch yet, so I don't know how that's going to work or not, but the reports are that it's pretty good. In addition to the addition, I guess, of the motion controls, I guess the patch notes also have talked about or the resolution in some areas on Doom has been increased on the Switch. So not only have they made the controls better, but they're also making the visuals better in the game on the Switch. And it just goes to show you what a great developer these guys are. I mean, I know that there were some people that were complaining about the way that the game was, and I don't know, I haven't played it myself on the Switch. There were some people complaining about it, but you know what? They did right and they fixed it. Now, if we could just get developers to have it shipped right the first time instead of patching things later, I think maybe we'd be onto something. All right, let me look at how long we've got so far. Tracks, align tracks end to end. We're already at 19 minutes. Okay. I am. All right, I'm going to do one more story, and then the rest is going to go into the lightning round in order to have this to be a good length of an episode. Whoa, why did that do that? Hold on. Go back to the beginning. Control 2. Control S. Speaking of killing demons, we've got Diablo 3, a fantastic game. I played it on PC right up until I went for a run with my daughter one day and broke my arm. I fell, broke my elbow. You still see the scar there if you're watching on YouTube. And Diablo 3 is a fantastic game. I put a lot of hours into that game. And then they ported it to the PlayStation 4. I don't know if it's on Xbox One as well or not, but they ported it to the PlayStation 4 and they redid the UI to better use controllers. And for the most part, people have said that it's pretty good. Now, I've heard that there are some bugs in the console port of Diablo 3 where people are duplicating things and stuff like that. That doesn't really affect me because I would just play by myself or with friends. I wouldn't be playing with other people, and I really don't care what other people do in their games. That doesn't affect me. But what I've heard about Diablo 3 on consoles is that it's a very, very good game. In fact, a lot of people prefer it because they feel like the controls are much better than they are with a mouse and keyboard. And all of you mouse and keyboard warriors out there, hold your emails, don't yell at me. I'm just telling you what other people have said because I have not played it on console. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, there's this website called NeoSeeker, and they have a rumor that Blizzard is looking to implement local play with multiple switches, allowing you to team up for local co-op action as you run around in Sanctuary to stop Diablo. They don't say who their source is, and I never heard of... Well, I mean, I think I've heard the name NeoSeeker before, but I don't think I've ever been to their website before. So I don't know how reputable they are. And Blizzard certainly hasn't said anything about porting Diablo 3 to the Switch. Now, I would love if they did because that's where I have the most friends. Like I have a Nintendo podcast, so my friends list on my Switch is huge because a lot of people add me. On my PlayStation 4, I think I've got like 5 or 6 people that have added me on that. And so I've got a lot more people to play with on the Switch. Now, I've heard that Diablo 3 looks beautiful on the PS4, and it obviously would not look as good on the Switch. But this is the kind of game that you want to be able to take with you. You know, you pull out your Switch out of your backpack and you just do a quick level, go kill a quick boss or something, whether you do it by yourself or with a team. And that could be a whole lot of fun. And maybe this is related to that thing where I think it was last week or a couple of episodes ago where Nintendo had sent me an email. They sent every parent an email saying that your child's account will now be able to be accessed by third-party developers so that they can do like online multiplayer stuff. And maybe this has something to do with it. Maybe, Blizzard has what they used to call BattleNet, when that's what everybody else calls it, but Blizzard just decided to call it Blizzard. I don't know what it's BattleNet. Shut up, Blizzard. But maybe that email has something to do with BattleNet being able to communicate with your Nintendo ID. I don't know, or not your Nintendo ID, your Nintendo account. I don't know, but I'm pretty excited for the idea of playing Diablo 3 on my Switch. And that's one of those games where even though I've already finished the game I finished the game and I finished the expansion on my PC, I will definitely buy it again on the Switch to be able to take it with me because Diablo 3 is an exceedingly fun game, and playing games with a mouse and keyboard is painful to me these days because of my wrist injuries and my elbow injuries. So I don't think that I think that if it comes out, I don't think I can resist buying it. I did not break my arm playing Diablo. So here's the story. Um, I was running on not a treadmill, but an elliptical. I was on an elliptical in my old office downstairs, and my daughter came in and she goes, "I'm going to go for a run." And I said, "Oh, I'll go with you. I'll go for a run with you." So we went outside, and I have to preface this by letting you guys know that I used to be quite large. Like, I was a pretty heavy guy. I was pushing 300 pounds at one point, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I still had the sneakers on that I wore when I was really fat. So my feet had shrunk, and so I had to tighten my sneakers down, and running on an elliptical, who cares? But my laces, even though my shoes were tied, were hanging down past like the bottom of my shoe, and I didn't really even think about it. In fact, my wife had took a picture of us before we left, and you could see like my laces touching the ground, even though they were tied. And so we're running down the road, and I didn't even get a mile, and I didn't have like a fancy armband or anything, but I had like my phone in my hand and like my headphones in, and we're just running down the road, and I stepped on my shoelace, and I fell. My phone went flying, and I put my hand down, and I shattered my wrist, or not my wrist. I shattered my elbow, sheared it right off. And like the doctor even had to order, like, they did their X-rays and everything, or their MRIs or whatever it is that they do, and they ordered like an elbow replacement just in case they weren't able to put everything back together. But then when they did the surgery, they were able to put everything back together, and they ended up not using the elbow replacement, thank God, because that would suck. But like, I still cannot straighten my arm out completely. You guys can't see it, but my arm doesn't go all the way straight, and I can't bend it all the way either. Like I can easily come up here with this arm and touch my shoulder. Like if I leave my elbow down here, like they're at the same level, like I can do that, but this is as far as my elbow goes. If I want to like reach up, this, like, I have to lift my elbow. This is as far as it goes. I can't bend it any more than that. All right, so that's Diablo 3. All right, we've got 3 quick stories for the lightning round. The first is that Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles, has been listed for the Nintendo Switch. There's no official announcement for the game from Nintendo, but I guess it's showing up on Amazon Germany. Some people say that this game is kind of like a cross between Zelda and Stardew Valley, although they mentioned that there was no combat in the game, so I'm really not sure why they would say Zelda, maybe just like the looks or something like that. There's a trailer in the show notes if you want to check it out. Again, there's no official word on the release, and it's listed on Amazon as coming out May 31st. Second story, if you guys have not watched my review of Chromagun for the Nintendo Switch, make sure you head on over to my YouTube channel and check out my review. But you might actually be able to just ignore that review and try out the game yourself. A demo of Chromagun has been added to the European region for eShops, so you might be able to try out the game for yourself, but I still think you should check out my review and tell me what you think. But that's Chromagun. It's very Portal-like game where you mix paint colors to make robots open doors for you. Really weird way to describe the game, but I think that's probably the best way to describe the game. The last story in the lightning round is that there's this PSA on Reddit today that I saw. It said, please do not buy Payday 2 for the Nintendo Switch. It is severely outdated. And it says that it is on update 130, which on the PC version was over a year ago. And so then the PC version is currently at update 172. So it looks like the Switch version of Payday 2 is going to be like a year behind, and a lot of bug fixes behind, like literally hundreds and hundreds of bug fixes according to this post. I don't know how true that is, but I know that a lot of people who picked up the game are not happy about that. So I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that the Switch version is, I guess, a year behind the PC version, which is always kind of frustrating to see the cool things that are happening in your game and have to wait a year before you actually get to use them. All right, lightning round. Well, that is all the time that we have for the show today. If there's a story that I missed or a topic that you would like discussed, please let me know. I don't think I listed the ways that you can get a hold of me at the beginning of the show, but it's basically Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at RunJumpStomp, RunJumpStomp at gmail.com. Where else could you look for me? You can call and leave a voicemail at 260-RUN-JUMP. That's 260-786-5867. And if you're looking for ways to support the show, there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Head on over to runjumpstomp.com/support. Once you are there, you'll see all kinds of links and ways that you can help me out. One way that you can help is to just share the show with a friend, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure that you watch those videos as well. I'm going to be demonetized. Oh, I'm actually going to be demonetized today because I don't reach the requirements. So it's not like I'm going to be making any money off of YouTube, but I really am having a lot of fun making videos for the YouTube channel. In fact, yesterday I made I recorded stuff for 4 episodes of the NES archive, and I only have one launch game left to record, and that is Super Mario Brothers. So we can look forward to that. And I've got some editing to do before I can post them, but make sure that you head on over to youtube.com/runjumpstomp. And you can subscribe there. In addition to the NES archive, you're also going to see reviews for Nintendo Switch games, my just general thoughts on things in the gaming industry and other stuff. Make sure that you also check out Tom Winter and Noteblock. You've heard their music on my show at the beginning and end for quite a long time now. They're fantastic people, and I really appreciate them letting me use their music. I will see you guys next time, which will be on Thursday. Until then, bye-bye.